Gridiron Junkie fans? I am your host, George Carmona, and we are here to anticipate and endouse you with information with this insane Elite 8 divisional card NFL weekend. Lots of fancy words to just saying playoff football, baby. Playoff football is what this weekend is about. We have 4 matchups. We're going to be going through each one of those matchups, giving you guys a little bit of information that you guys should utilize when making your bets this upcoming week. So I'm going to first start off with the Jaguars versus Chiefs. The Jaguars coming off a 27-point deficit, the third biggest in NFL playoff history comeback to defeat the Chargers last week, 31-30. That earned them a dance with what could be perceived and what is, in my heads, the Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I'll touch in a little bit here as to why I think the Chiefs are that team of destiny and why there really is nobody in the league that's operating at such an effective level, like as a unit, from the head office, the front office, to the coach, to the players, the way that team has operated for the last 3 years. I don't know what quantifies a dynasty in your mind. They definitely deserve to be in that conversation, no matter how you shake up dynasties in your head. But let's just go ahead and go back into the the Jags versus Chiefs this week. The Chiefs are going to come in with the line read today, which today is Thursday. It reads that the Chiefs are minus 8.5 point favorites, and the over/under is at 52.5. Now, the Chiefs are 6-10-1 against the spread this year, and the Jags come in at 9-9 against the spread. The spread is not really something that I thought I would take into consideration, being that last week I had a horrible time picking against the spread myself. So when I was looking at these lines this week, I was like, you know what? Let me avoid the little cheese, and let me just go with what I believe in, right? The money line, the teams that are here to prove that they're not a wash. And no team this far into the playoffs has proven they're a wash. Now, unless the Chiefs and the Eagles, if either one of those teams loses, then we can say that team had a wash of a season. But to make it to this point in time, second round in the playoffs, your team, if they're still in it, you give them a little round of applause, right? The Chargers, sadly, we can't give them a round of applause. My Saints, no round of applause for them. The Raiders, big boos for the Raiders, right? So if your team's still in it, give yourself a pat on the back. You know, there's a lot of times in this life in which your team will make it to the playoffs, and although they get bounced first round, you may not appreciate that half of the league was not playing that week that you lost. And you got to appreciate that effort and camaraderie level, because for a lot of teams, making it to the playoffs is their end goal. And it may not be what a coach says externally to the media, because if a coach isn't saying that they're going to win the Super Bowl, then they're going to be like, oh, wow, mediocre franchise, right? These are professionals. They're playing to win a championship. Only exceptions being when the Browns went 0-16. Then the next year they were like, if we just win a game, we're ecstatic. So that's the only exception. Back into the Jaguars. The Jaguars were able to pull off that miraculous upset last week versus the Chargers because the Jaguars defense, they're ranked 28th in the league versus the pass. Now, I know Trevor Lawrence threw 3 interceptions early on, 4 interceptions, 3 to Asante Samuels early on. But the Chargers just sliced and diced them through the air all night, and it's because the Jaguars just don't have a good secondary. Their pass defense is atrocious. Now, if you have a bad pass defense, you have a huge lead or you're coming back, right? The Chargers just force-fed the ball to Austin Eckler all that second half during the comeback. And it makes sense as to why they kind of fell into the Jaguars' trap. The Jaguars have the 12th best rush defense. So the amazing comeback kind of makes sense in my head now a little bit more, because that's what was going to happen in that game anyways. The Chargers were going to expose the Jaguars' weak secondary, which they did. They went through a lot of their plays in their arsenal, which that happens at times when you get a lot of turnover luck early and you get the ball on plus sides of the field. Like, your game plan and your script is kind of shot, because all the plays that you were using to test out the defense throughout the week, you now can't do that because you're in a red zone situation, or, you guys are in a 3rd and 6 and you haven't seen that, how a corner reacts to emotion, whatever, yada, yada, yada. They're playing the Chiefs this weekend. And I know Trevor Lawrence has never lost on a Saturday. And I know that the Jaguars have had the most underdog wins in the Super Bowl era history. But I think the train stops now, because the Chiefs are the ultimate juggernaut. Now, the thing that I first wanted to bring up, because I like trying to find stats for this, stats and records now have been ruined in the NFL with this adding of 1 week. I and myself think that there's like a 50-year cycle in all sports in which they add an extra facet to the game to make it a little more entertaining, whether it's an extra game, extend the games. Maybe in basketball, the defense got a little more laxed, and now you see this inflation of numbers and new records being set. And I really do think it's like a cleansing of wanting to be in a generation in which you have record holders. So every time I look at stats now in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes broke Drew Brees' passing record, which Drew Brees broke in like 2018, 2019. And Drew Brees, like up until Drew Brees breaking that record, which Drew Brees broke it with a 17 or a 16 game schedule, it was like a 35-year gap, 40-year gap before that record was even like touched, right? And then Brady broke it too. And now Mahomes has now set the new all-time passing yards record in a season. And just expect a lot of that. Just expect a whole bunch of people to be coming out and saying that they're now like the record holder for this, the record holder for that. And it makes records lose its luster for at least a little bit. Now we got to wait like another 10 years before I can like look at records honestly again and be like, oh, okay, well, this person's had a shot, that person hasn't had a shot. But Patrick Mahomes throws for 5,614 passing yards this season. He is unworldly. Like he's it's hard to put into words, people. That's what he is. He's hard to put into words. He's got the leadership quality. He's got the size, which I had talked about this on a previous podcast. Patrick Mahomes' body is like the boilerplate standard to how a quarterback in the NFL has got to look. A little bit stocky, 6'3" and above so they could see over the line. Little bit of mobility, like thick legs to power through, get some extra yards. Not these little, and I'm not knocking Daniel Jones because he's doing it, Lamar Jackson, but they just need a little more meat. You know what I mean? Like, if I just don't think that you can blast through somebody for an extra yard because you look like you got spaghetti string legs. That makes sense. It's got the size, got the height, got the speed, got the leadership. He's got his coaches, like, I beyond approval. He's got, like, full reign on this offense, which when you have a team that the coach trusts the quarterback so much that, it doesn't matter if the headsets go out. It's without a doubt, you guys are so in sync that he's going to call the right plays. They're so in sync that Andy Reid lets them have 10 minutes a day of practice where they can just go make their own little creative red zone plays, which that just doesn't happen. Like, that's why this team is this team is a dynasty. Travis Kelce's about to break Tyreek Hill's reception record for the Chiefs. He's playing out of his mind. Then you have this out of nowhere. Jerick McKinnon has scored 6 straight times. I'm going to say that again because I want this to be a clip. Jerick McKinnon has scored in 6 straight games from a pass from Patrick Mahomes. Now, if he continues on this streak and he gets a passing touchdown, that's just, it blows my mind because they put all that money into Clyde, or they didn't put money into Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but they put hope into him. And they get Jerick McKinnon, and it just goes to show, like, the running back position is not as important as people think, as far as, like, you don't want to put millions and millions and millions. I'm saying, like, you don't want to pay them $20 million a year, $15 million a year. You can find running backs to get the job done for, $1 million to $3 million. If you got your next level superstars, your Christian McCaffreys, your Derrick Henrys, like, you could get in a conversation at 10 to 12 million, but I don't ever think a running back will ever earn $30 million, $40 million a year. It would be tough for me to wrap my head around because there's so many other facets to a team, which, like the Chiefs have done, is they've unloaded all the superstars they've had. They've won their titles. Now they are in the midst of a reload, and without even knowing it, like losing Tyreek Hill and Clyde Edwards-Helaire not really panning out, like they've reloaded a mag that, in my opinion, could be even a little more powerful, because what Tyreek Hill does to your offense is it makes it a little more predictable once that weapon is taken away. And this is why I think teams like the Patriots in the past, or even like Green Bay this past year without Devontae Adams, like, you can still have a group of receivers that the love is spread so evenly that it's almost more difficult to beat that than it is to beat like a superstar like a Justin Jefferson, and take them away. And then now everybody else the offense is sputtering because that's a big portion of the offense that's missing. This is a long-winded way of me saying that the Chiefs -8.5 and the under 52.5 is going to hit. On to the Giants-Eagles. Eagles are coming in -7.5 point favorites. The over-under is 48. The last time these two teams played, it was Minshew Mania was at quarterback. It was a deteriorated Eagles team. Now, when I looked back at week 13 and the Eagles played the Giants, so it was the first matchup of the year, the Eagles shellacked. The Eagles shellacked the Giants. It was like 48-22 or something. And that score right there indicated to me that that's exactly what's going to happen. Like, the Giants are a good team to an extent. They eventually started playing Tyrod Taylor late in that game. So I really do think, like, it was, I think I was like when Daniel Jones had like twisted an ankle or something, but it was like the Eagles stomped on them. And I think this has the exact same look. This game, this upcoming week, has the exact same look as what happened week 13. For the sole reason that Eagles team has been resting and preparing for this game now for like 3 weeks. And it at this late in the season, like, that is imperative and it's crucial, and it should allow your team to come out firing at full cylinders. Now, I will say this. If the Giants jump out early, and when I mean jump out early, if the Giants are up 2 possessions, so even if it's 9-0. Okay, they have a 9-point lead, 9 point time, 9 points and up. I would be a little worried because that Eagles offense, very similar to the Miami Dolphins offense, that you got to have like a flow, rhythm, and momentum. And it's not an offense necessarily in which you want to be playing from behind because you have to establish the run game. And that's the part of that RPO offense that the Eagles run that has opened up a sea of opportunity and possibilities. The Eagles are looking for those linebackers to just bite just tad bits, baby steps, so that way your A.J. Brown and your Devontae Smith can get loose on them. They started to figure, I mean, all teams know this. Linebackers start playing at a little bit of a deeper depth. Corners start playing at a little bit of a deeper depth. They're not looking at too many press type situations. So it's that ultimate game of chess. Now watch this whenever the Eagles play the Giants and the Eagles have the ball on Sunday. I think this game's going to be Saturday night. Watch and see how far back the Giants have their linebackers and the people on the slot receivers. That's going to dictate to you the entire game. If the linebackers are playing at depth, expect the Eagles to run that ball hard and all night long. If you start seeing the linebackers and people over the slot receivers playing up tight, we could be seeing a lot of those like right over the linebacker slants to A.J. Brown, which he's caught like 8 of them this year that I can remember, where he just that will happen a lot. And the one other thing that I really, really like about this Eagles team, they run a beautiful screen game. It's between the Chargers and the Eagles screen game, but the Eagles hit the screen game a little bit differently with the receivers. The Chargers use Austin Eckler a little bit more out of the backfield. Their screen game for the Eagles, their quick game, is pretty deadly. And I would almost consider those just extended runs like a toss. So, man, those Eagles, they can't play from behind, though. I'm going to tell you right now, that offense, it has its limitations, and those limitations being Jalen Hurts was a quarterback in which a lot of his reads were RPO-style reads in college. And he's made a living because now Nick Sirianni kind of has transplanted that offensive style to him. He's made that shift into now, if Jalen Hurts can find that rhythm, that RPO takes these Eagles to a Super Bowl. I myself like the Eagles a lot in this game. I've been horrible at picking bird teams this year, but I'm not going to miss this one. I'm not going to miss this one because I was duped last week with the Buccaneers and the Cowboys. I was like, I'm never going to bet against Brady. Like everybody and their mom has always told me this. There's like this Giants hype train of like, this is 2008 again, that I'm like, enough. Okay, let's pump the brakes just a little bit and prove it to me this weekend. Because if the Giants win this weekend, goddamn, 2008 starting to look a little more real, right? A little Barack Obama change, right? The change is happening. On to the next game, which we're going to talk about, the Sunday games. Those were the 2 Saturday games. Let me pull up the Sunday card. Bengals versus Bills. Ooh. Bills are coming in at -5.5 point favorites. This is at Orchard Park. That's how I feel right now, people. Like I had prepared my first 2 game kind of statements. I had typed down notes. I was like, I got to get this episode out. Haven't done an episode in a while. I'll just leave the last 2 games for me to see them and then report on them as I see them, right? So this is my initial thoughts looking at this game. Oh, we got a tough decision to make. So tough. You got the team of destiny, right? The team of destiny being like the Bills with Damar Hamlin. Team of destiny. They got to win it for DeMar because that Monday Night Football game. You got to win it too if you're the Bills because you've named a street after Josh Allen. That's happened. You got to win it if you're the Bills because New York needs this revitalization of championships being normalized again in the state. Now, the Bengals have been there. The Bengals have taken care of business. Holy shit, this game's tough to pick. I'm going to look at the weather report. I already know it's going to be freezing cold. Let's see here. 33 degrees. No chance of snow, or at least it doesn't say it does. Bengals have won their last 5. The Bills have won their last 5. These teams are so equal, except for the defense. Okay. This is the game in which the Bengals could really solidify that for the next 3 years, you got to take us seriously. And seriously, like the Chiefs, seriously. Seriously, like the Saints when they had Drew Brees, seriously. Like, you got to just take them seriously. I don't think in a game like this, with this huge magnitude and this wave of emotion behind Damar Hamlin, I don't think Josh Allen has got the composure to win versus the Bengals this weekend. I think the Bengals defense is top notch. I was put on earlier this year to a guy named DJ Reader. He's playing really well. Sam Hubbard with a 99-yard touchdown return last week. Bengals defense versus a Josh Allen who needs to be composed. Give me the Bengals. Give me the Bengals at Orchard Park money line. Because this is a week of money line. Now, I do have to make my money. So in those first 2 Saturday games, I will take those with the points. This is a money line. Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase. The Buffalo Bills allow 31 points a game. They score 28 points a game on average. I'm going to say it's a final score. 31-28. Bengals. Done. That was my accurate reading of that. I just don't think Josh Allen has a composure. I just think he's going to be a wild animal. I think he's made a lot of mistakes this year. I think this game means a lot. Nope. Not doing it. Not doing it. Final game. Cowboys versus the Niners. Niners coming in at -4-point favorites. This one's not going to take me as long because, hey, listen, I've been riding this. Brock Purdy's a fucking rookie. And that was the first F word I used. I've been better. I rewatched a lot of my stuff. I'm trying not to use the F word. But Brock Purdy's a fucking rookie. He is going to have a game in which he has multiple interceptions. I said it here. I'm predicting it now. I've predicted it for the last 4 weeks and it hasn't happened. Brock Purdy is due for a multiple interception game. Without a doubt, it's happening this week versus the Cowboys. Man. I was, okay, the reason I've been a Cowboyer this year, which it's newfound territory for me. I'm not that big of a, let's get behind the star. America's team. I've held myself back from being that for a long time. But this year there was something about me that was like, as I was reporting, doing this podcast throughout the year, I was like, they're not that bad of a team. Now, at the end of the season, they looked really bad. And I myself was like, I just can't bet against Brady in the playoffs. I just can't. I'm not going to do it. Just not going to do it. However, I should have done it, or else, I wouldn't have had to scavenge together some coins to make it into the studio today for some gas. I should have bet with the boys, and I'm going to bet with the boys. I'm betting with the boys this week, money line. I have 2 favorites on Saturday, taking the Chiefs, I'm taking the Eagles, and then on Sunday, I'm taking the Dogs. I'm taking the Bengals, and I'm taking the Cowboys. Blows my mind that the Cowboys are underdogs, but it's not that I'm underestimating. I literally made a blanket statement there. I said, Brock Purdy is the 49ers. That's it. He's gonna be the determining factor. No. I just feel that there's something special about that star this year, baby. Micah Parsons is a little bit different than just about everybody else. And here's the thing. If the Cowboys can stop Christian McCaffrey in the run early, the 49ers like to do a lot of guard tackle pulls, right? You saw this past weekend, Kyle Juszczyk went the wrong way, like on a banana block, and just flattened Trent Williams. Not really flattened him. He made the big guy stumble though, fall backwards. Same thing's got to happen. Some cowboy this week has got to take his ibuprofen before the game, do a little bit of smelling salts, and say, hey, Trent Williams, okay? If I see you pulling, I'm going to put you in a grave. That's what the Cowboys defensive line needs to say. No more of this letting this tough 49ers defense plow all over every fucking team. None of it. No more. If you make the 49ers throw the ball, the Cowboys win this game and they win it by a lot. Can't believe they're make that game a 2.5 point line. Make that a 1.5. Make it a pick 'em. Okay. It is absurd to me that everybody is on their knees for Brock Purdy. But that's it. Those are my 4 picks and predictions for the Elite 8. Make sure you guys follow George Carmona at Mr. George Carmona on Instagram and on TikTok. And then follow Gridiron Junkeez on all platforms as well. And I look forward to seeing you guys after all the games week 8 to talk about how good or bad I did. Later.